Hey guys, if you're enjoying the show and listening to us talk about what needs to be said in surfing, then please do us a favour and chuck us a follow wherever you get your podcast fix.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all the rest. The best part about it, it's going to cost you absolutely nothing. That way we can keep bringing you the goods. You can also find some of our stuff on Instagram and TikTok where we throw up some extras. So please tune into those.
Our handle on that is @the Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening. Enjoy the show. G'day everyone and welcome back to the late afternoon glass off. If you're watching on YouTube, you may have already noticed that my co-host Zach, we're generally joined at the hip. He's actually absent, and that's because we had to express post our guest in today straight from El Salvador. The champagne hasn't even dried on his hair yet. Dane Henry, thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Oh yeah, cheers for having me. It's sick to get on.
Yeah, we're stoked to have you, mate. Talk us through your last sort of 24 hours of what's been going on travel-wise and where you're at now.
Yeah, start off with the 24 hours. I won the ISA Open comp, and then we had kind of the arvo to cruise, pack, and then we had to get up 4 o'clock the next morning to get to the airport, and then had a flight from El Salvador to LA, 9-hour layover in LA, and then a 14-hour flight back to Brizzy from LA. So it's been a pretty big last couple of 24 hours. And then, went straight into some media stuff at Surfing Oz this morning. So that was a bit of a shock to the system, but yeah, it's all good. I'm feeling pretty good.
Mate, if you need a nap halfway through this thing, let us know and we can do a timeout. Look, we're going to get into your massive win. But here at the Largo Podcast, and Scrap, my little producer here, knows that too. We kind of like to edge the audience a little bit and just, we work into that later. So, firstly, you've been on mine and Zach's radar for a few years now. But for some people, there'd be people hearing only about you for the first time after this win. Who is Dane Henry?
I'm just another Aussie Grom that came up through all the junior ranks. Obviously, I've been surfing at Scrap since we were about 8 years old or whatever at the regionals and all that kind of stuff. But just another Grom that's come through the ranks in the Aussie surfing and kind of just found me feet in the last couple of years.
Amazing. And you're 19 years old, right? From Kingy?
Yeah, 19 years old. I live in Finklehead, but represent Kingy board riders.
Amazing. So when it comes to state of origin, are you Queensland or New South Wales?
Well, I played my first game of footy in New South Wales, so I'll base it off how they base it off. So yeah, I'm a New South Welshman.
That's the correct answer. Well done. So when did you actually start surfing?
Well, my dad's from Raglan, and he's a mad surfer, absolutely loves it. So he plonked me on a board at about 2 years old, and yeah, just been nonstop ever since.
Amazing. And so your dad being from Raglan, any sort of, I guess now you wouldn't change it for the world, but was there any sort of inkling for you to surf for New Zealand at any point, or has it always just been Oz?
Yeah, it's been a weird one because mum's also a Kiwi as well, so it's a pretty kind of weird little situation to be in. But I've always I was born and bred in Australia, so it was always a no-brainer for me. And with Australia being how good we are for Olympic sport and just sport in general, the opportunities we have at Surfing Oz, it's like kind of a no-brainer. If you can kind of stick there and stick in the Oz program, then make the most of that. But there's always been like Dad knows all the Surfing New Zealand crew, so they've always been asking to come around. But yeah, it's just I try and stay in the Aussie crew because I'm Aussie, I'm born here and always lived here. So yeah, but it's always been a pretty weird little topic to be.
It's kind of like your state of origin response before. You're born in Australia, so surf for Australia.
Yeah.
Rip Curl look after you now. When did they pick you up?
2.5 years ago, I got on Rip Curl.
Yeah, because I went back through your sort of 2024 campaign. You looked like you rewarded them pretty well for their investment almost straight away. You went on a fairly generational run in 2024. You start the year by breaking the internet with those 2 stonking punts you did at D-Bar. Correct me if I'm wrong, was that the same session?
Yeah, the two airs were about 20 minutes apart.
Oh my God. And so on that, like, did you notice any increase in attention coming your way after those clips went out straight away? Was there a growth there, do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of that's definitely been my biggest growth. At that time, I think on Instagram I had about 4,000, maybe 6,000 followers, and then within I think 3 months I was at like 15 or 16,000 followers. So it was a pretty big jump from, and like a big kind of, I don't know, a bit of a, not a shock to reality, but like kind of like a holy crap, I got all these crew kind of watching me now, which was pretty cool, and that kind of led the momentum on for last year.
Yeah, amazing, mate. So yeah, you do that in like sort of February, and then you go on this run of, you go 5th place in Newcastle Surf Fest, under 18s ISA World Junior Champ, 1st place Skull Candy, at our haunt here, Lennox Head. You win that one on a 10 in the final, doing a flip. Australian Men's Open champion, and then you get awarded the Mick Fanning Male Rising Star Award. And then just in case you weren't busy enough that year, you release your stab sort of entry for Edit of the Year clip Dane, which was a banger as well. Look, I'm guessing this is the biggest year in your surf career so far. I mean, we'll get to what you did last week, but in terms of the whole year as a portfolio goes, that'd be your biggest competitive year, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Last year was a pretty crazy. It went so fast, and it was such a crazy year for me. And I don't know, momentum's a hell of a thing, and it just kept on going all the way to the end, and ended up having like a really good Hawaii season. At the end of the year, like my first session over there was at like Solid Waimea, and got a pretty good one out there, and then got a couple at Backdoors. My first year actually having a good crack over there. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. And like towards the start of the year, I was still doing online school, and then after I won my junior world title, I just left school. It was my last year, so I'm just gonna wrap that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it was a crazy run, and yeah, a bit of a shock to reality once you kind of reset and get back into the next year.
Yeah. And was that sort of for you winning that world title as a junior? Like, was that kind of where you went, oh, I'm gonna really pursue this as a career?
Yeah, it was. I was definitely already, like my whole mindset was already on pursuing surfing, but that was kind of the switching moment where I was like, far out, I could definitely give this a red hot crack in the next few years, and it's kind of where I hit my straps. And yeah, it's definitely like one of the kind of points where I was like, this is definitely what I want to do, and definitely what I want to pursue.
Amazing. So you sort of wrap up 2020, your massive 2024 season. And then we sort of get into this year, and by your standards, it's been a pretty quiet one, up until again last week. But so the start of the year, you sort of haven't done as many comps. Sort of scrap filled me in before we started this. You had a bit of an injury in your indo leg, is that correct?
Yeah. Just I went over to Cruy, was feeling really good, and 2 days before my first heat, I tried a full row out front of where me and Scrap were staying, and just my board flipped and my foot landed straight, my back foot landed straight on my fin, and ended up getting 12 stitches in my foot.
Oh, true.
So, in an indo little program. So that was a bit of a scary one, bit of wake up to reality. And yeah, missed Cruy and Nias, and then I don't know, that kind of had to set a little bit of a slow pace to my year, I guess.
Yeah. I guess like there's nothing you can do there, but I guess in reality, it sends you into full focus mode into the ISA World Games that you knew you had coming up. We move into this, which I'm confidently assuming this is the biggest moment of your surfing career to date. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, the event held at La Botana. So firstly, what fun is that way? It looks like trestles on steroids.
So yeah, it's like what we were saying over there, it's like Trestles and D-Bar had a baby.
No, it's like
It's it's never under 2 feet, and even if it's 2 foot non-shore, it's the best wave in the world. And every morning it's just pumping its guts out, and it's just like, it's the best way for a comp. Even like 4-man heats with priority. If you have fourth prior, you can go anywhere and get a wave. it's like it's just the most perfect wave you could possibly imagine for, you know, a free surf trip or even the comp. Like it's insane over there.
Yeah, and so it looked to me predominantly a right, but the left's pretty good too, right?
Yeah, usually most people sit on the left, but yeah, most people sit on the left, like because the comp setup is like aimed right in front of the left, so you can, if you get a better left, it looks better, but then the right, like obviously from being from the east coast of Australia, I love a good right, and I think the right was more, you know, there was more good waves there, and there was more excellent rides, so that's kind of where all the teams that did well, we set up over the river, which is where like we were right in front of the right, and you could actually see it go really well. So that was kind of a um bit of a theme for the crew that did well.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So bit of a weird setup to this event, and like I said, you've done it before, so you're all over it. But there's two routes you can take to eventually win this event, and there's the efficient way or the hard way. You took the efficient track, thankfully, which was you didn't have to stir for any of the rep charge heats. But is this a format that you like, giving you those second chances, or would you prefer it just be like, nah, straight knockout as it usually is?
I really like the ISA format, even though I hate the amount of crew in it. Like it's so like I think there was 50 heats in the first round for the men, and it was
Oh,
like 50 heats of 3 blokes. It's just there's so many because there's 60 countries over there, and you've got like a few each country. So it was just in like the amount of crew is just insane. But the format for, you know, you can have one bad heat, you can have a shocker,
yeah,
and you can still come back. So that I feel like that throughout the whole thing, like that gives you that, not the safety, but like kind of gives you a bit of a safety net that you can fall back on, and then you just got to learn how to reset. But I really like that format. I think it's pretty sick, but it's pretty time consuming. So it's not like probably couldn't do it at a Kiwi.
well, yeah, I looked at like the total heats. There's like 193 men's heats, like to get to the final. Obviously, you don't surf and all those, but that's how many there are like across
Yeah.
the. So pretty crazy that they run it. But you start this event, you progress through the early rounds fairly easily. Your round 3 heat was a little bit sketch, but you got through that one. Was everything feeling pretty good early days for you?
Yeah, ISA is always a really tricky one because you can really get caught up in like, oh, I've got someone from Greece or I've got
Yeah.
someone from, you know, Poland or Senegal, and then you're like, oh, I'll wax these guys. But then like there's a lot of guys in there that are super gnarly and so undercover, you've never heard of them, and they just come out and just can wax crew. Like there was a guy from Germany, Tim Elter. He like just comes out of the gates flying, and you're like, oh my god, this bloke from Germany's just put 2 sevens on me. I got to get out of that situation. So I don't know. It's a really tricky one, but it's kind of I felt like I kind of got a bit of a good flow. This comp I really wanted to just kind of put the work boots on and not really rely on my airs, and I really want to get it done with turns, kind of show that I have that turn game, and I kind of proved to myself, and I feel like I proved to a lot of crew that I can just, you know, get it done, and that's definitely going to be something I'm taking into the Kiwis at the end of the year.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah. That's a funny point you make there as well, because I was going to ask you about that. Like, do you see you've got someone from like a country you've never heard of, and you're just like, oh, I've got this guy on toast, and then you also like in that same sentence, a lot of guys will represent a nation that then don't necessarily live in as well. So you kind of like, oh, I should smoke this bloke from like, yeah, like Greece or something. I don't even know if there's a wave in Greece, but then he potentially could be from like the US, and he's just like,
Yeah,
you know. So
for sure. Yeah, there's like you know, Keon Martin, he represents Sweden, and they're like, and there's another bloke, Grayson Grant, that represents Sweden as well, and they were just like charge it through crew. And yeah, there's like ISA is just like, it's a really cool one like that because there's so many different people you can meet over there, and it really keeps you on your toes. And if you get off, like if you think you're cruising once and then you just get knocked in that repo and you're like, holy shit, I got to like lock back in here. It's not just a walk in the park, even though the draw would look like a walk in a park.
yes, yes, for sure. Anyway, you get through that one. And you come home against Cal Robber on round 4. Is there any chat before that one, or is it kind of like you're pretty professional at that point?
Um, yeah, it was that was like I was really looking forward to that heat. Just because it was like Cal Robber, you know, he's a bloke I've looked up to for the last, you know,
Yes.
however many years. He's been on the CT, like he's a CT class surfer all day. And yeah, it was a weird one. It was I think it was the first heat that the Aussies had together, and we got put like seated together really close, so we kind of knew it was going to happen, and we kept it. It was pretty serious, but I don't know. It was a slow heat, so it was pretty hard for Cal to get going, for any of us to get going. So it was it was one of those kind of heats, and yeah, I don't know. It was really special moment to share a heat with him. Like it was pretty awesome. I don't think I've had a heat with him yet. So before that, so that was really sick. But yeah, I wish we both got through that. And then you know, it's just ISA. It's just one of those ones where it can catch up on you and things like that happen. And he was great about it. He was just back into comp mode for the repo and smashed a couple more heats. And then unfortunately, got knocked out. But yeah, he was team captain, so he was really good for the morale over there. It was sick having him there, and yeah, it was an all around like cool experience having him there, even though like we surfed together. But yeah, it was pretty sick.
Yeah, well, and you send him, you do send him packing into the rapid charge, and it's kind of like it was that dreaded one where you kind of you're in, and then you kind of locked in there for a few heats. It's not like in and out. You kind of have to surf through a couple, and as you get to the pointy end of that rapid charge draw, it almost becomes like a final in itself, because everyone that's progressing through is surfing really well, and then final heat, and it's like, oh my god, like everyone rips.
For sure.
Yeah, you get through that one. You make light work again of your round 5 and 6 heats, and then round 7 is the final before the final. Like 2 or 3 of the guys in that heat of the 4 were all in the actual eventual final. You got yourself, Callie Vast, Jorgen cruising it, and Morgan. It's as stacked as it gets, really. You put up 15.73 heat total, 7.9 the 783, which does get you straight into the final. At this point, are you happy with this as a result, or are you kind of is anything less than a win a disappointment?
I was stoked as to be at the final, but you know, both of the heats were on the same day, so it was like kind of had to lock back in, and just the whole time I was coaching with Adam Duffner over there, and we were just like, every heat is just like just fucking get through. Just it's just another heat. Like, it doesn't matter about how many rounds deep you are. And you know, I was really stoked with getting in the final, but those couple of heats that I had off between the main round final and the grand final, I was like, and I really wanted to win, and I had like I was pretty confident going into it, but obviously, you know, ended up with Carly Vast, Olympic gold medal winner last year, and Morgan, who's, you know, one of Australia's, you know, best surfers, and he's CT surfer any day of the week. And Douglas, who rips too, he can pull out an 8 out of anywhere.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I really, going into that final, that kind of fueled me I really wanted to win, just because I, you know, wanted to get that one over those guys, just because it's such like and I ended up doing it, and it was just like such a crazy feeling to beat those guys.
Yeah, and like I want to get into like how you actually did, because this final was pretty crazy. You lock in an 8.67 before they'd even returned back from the ad break. Like, they had to replay it. You'd done it within like the first 3 minutes or something. Pretty nice way to start a final, right? Like, doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. I was kind of just sticking to the turns the whole time, apart from one heat that I had with Carly, and I did one full row and my first round. But apart from that, I was like, going to that final, I was on I stepped up an inch onto a 6.0, and it was a little bigger on the finals day, so I was like, I'll go with the inch bigger board. It felt way driving, it felt better, and I was just like, I might struggle on the airs a little bit more than my 511, but yeah, that first one, I kind of I took off on one really shitty one, and just had to pull straight out of it, so I had 4th prize straight away, and I just saw that one, I was like, you know what, I'll give it an honest crack. And yeah, just threw a punt out the bowl on the end section, and ended up just stomping it clean. And that was a pretty crazy feeling, because I didn't realize I stomped it until I was like claiming it. I was like, fuck, I'm claiming. Yeah, that was a sick way to start the final. It's always nice to start any heat with an excellent score.
Absolutely. And then, so you're pulling back out. Morgs drops an 8 as well. So you got that in the back of my go. I've got a good story, but Morgs isn't far behind me. And then And then Cowley does similar not too long after, so he gets a high 8 also. This was probably the most impressive moment in the heat for me, though. It was you have about 18.5 minutes to go in the final, and you take off on a wave, and it wasn't impressive to me because of the score you got on it. It was more how you approach the wave and how you went about it. You had a few really solid turns to begin with. And then you had a bit of downtime to sort of think about your finishing turn. There was a bit of distance between you and the end section. And I just loved how hard you backed yourself. Like if you safetied that end section, you probably get someone in like the 7 range, maybe a bit higher. And you couple that with a high 8, sort of halfway through the heat, you set up to almost win the final, you know. But instead you huck yourself at the end section, you stomp a pretty huge punt, get a 9.5, which is the highest wave of the heat and highest wave of the event as well. And then sort of fast forward a little bit, Cowley drops a second high 8, which if you do safety that end section and sort of do get a 7, he's in the lead, you need another score. So that was something that stood out to me. Talk us through your thinking, as you're like pumping down the line, just going, was there any thought of a turn, or was it just I'm punting?
Yeah, that was a funny wave. Like I've kind of that Labacana wave, I got a really good connection with it, and I had a really good rhythm with telling which ones were going to be good. And that wave started off real slow from memory, like had to do a carve, kind of set it up, and then I widened my stance. I think on the clip, you can kind of see I widened my stance on the second section because I was going to punt out the second section. But then I saw it and I was like, no, keep the work boots on, keep them on. So I just did a turn, felt like pretty good turn, and then 2 more, and then I was like, just when I had that little bit of downtime, I was like, oh, Morg's got an 8, Cowley's got an 8. I probably should just do a punt. And I was just like, it was kind of just like a fuck it moment, and just charged down the line. I saw the section. It looked like a tricky section, and I was just like, if I can finish this off with like, not like a crazy punt, but just like a solid one and leave like a nice sweet taste in the judge's mouth and give it an honest claim. And it ended up doing pretty well and felt so good. And I'm pretty happy I backed myself on that because Cowley ended up coming back swinging. So just stoked to back myself on that one.
Yeah. Well, like I say, Cowley ends up with like a 17-point heat total or something and still doesn't get the win. So you did need to actually do that air there.
Yeah.
You had a fair bit of time left in the heat after that 9.5. At what point did you kind of go, oh, like I'm pretty good here. Like I'm looking good for a win?
Honestly, I didn't feel like I was like, I mean, it still feels like I didn't win. It's such a weird feeling, but I didn't feel like I was safe until Callie's last wave dropped because like I knew I was like, okay, 9.5 and an 8 something, like because we couldn't really hear too much out there. I was like, would any other heat in this whole comp, I'm comboing crew, and I had Doug comboed, and I was like, oh sweet. And then I heard Callie wasn't in combo. I was like, oh shit, he needs like a 9.4. And it was like if he needed a 9.8, I'd be like, I reckon I'm got this sewed up. But then he needed a 9.4. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound too good. Like Cowley definitely is capable of getting a 9.4, and he got that last one, and did that full row, and that was a real scary one. And I had a paddle battle with him before that, but I creased my board trying another big punt on the wave, so I was legit sinking. So I couldn't paddle for the life of me, and I reckon I could have maybe beaten him, even though he's probably one of the strongest paddlers in the world. But I reckon the amount of adrenaline, like I almost got him with a creased board, and I felt like I was sinking. So I don't know. It was like that was a really nerve-wracking one for me because like if I got him on the paddle battle, I would have started up. But then even when I didn't, and he was hunting on the inside, I was like freaking out because I needed to be able to get it. But it all ended up pretty well. But the nerves definitely didn't rest until I heard that final score come in.
Yeah, and like you say that as well, like a 9.4 and a 9.8, they sound so close, but it's not the same as like a 5.4 and a 5.8. Like it's such a bigger score, and you have to do so much more to actually achieve that 0.4. So like you're in a really commanding position, but you're in the final. It's the biggest moment of your surfing career so far. Like you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself and start in too early, right?
100%. Yeah.
Anyway, the rest is history. You win gold. You're the first surfer since Tom Curran in 1982 to hold the junior title and then win the Opens title. So how does that sit with you?
Yeah, Chris Cote told me that straight after me in the interview. I was like, like, what the fuck? Like, it was such a crazy stat to pull up. And then, like, last year, it was such a crazy deja vu event for me because last year, like, we stayed at the same place. The last 2 years, stayed at the same place. I ate the exact same thing every single day from the place, beef tacos, because they were just like my safe food. Same breakfast, same, like, ended up getting team gold, individual gold, and then had some like crazy stats last year. Like, I was the first to win the 18s in like 10 or something years, and then it was like deja vu. And when he said like that, since the 80s, I was like, I'm like, what the like, what are the 40 years? Dude, it didn't really sink in till then. I was like, oh my god, actually, that was actually like a skits win.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, mate. And you just touched on it then, as well as you winning gold. Australia also wins gold. What is there a night out after that? What does the night look like after Australia wins gold?
Um, it was actually kind of semi-tame. Like, we finished the comp and it was only like 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
And then me, Morgs, and Sal got a anti-doping drug testing person on us straight away. So they follow you around for the they follow you around for the Arvo, and then you have to go straight to the closing ceremony. We do that, and then get all our medals, sing the national anthem, all that kind of stuff, and then straight to the testing program thing. And but yeah, Morgs and Sal that was straight in and out. They could piss, and I was dry as a I was dry as the Sahara Desert. So I was like, took me ages to piss, and kind of just was like, I couldn't drink beer either, so it was like a bit annoying. So I had to like stick to the Gatorades and waters, and then we got back and it was still only like 2 o'clock. So I already had the biggest day ever, and it wasn't even lunchtime. Wasn't even 3 o'clock yet. So yeah, ended up going back, just kind of had to pack up all my gear and had a few beers, listen to some music, and then yeah, it was actually a pretty tame one. They hold an after party. The ISA hold an after party, and they had it in town in San Salvador, which was like a 40-minute drive away. So we're all kind of wigging on that because we had to go there in the morning. And I don't know. We all just like, we had a big team dinner and, had a few drinks, but it was a super crazy one. But I kind of got to bed at like 9 o'clock, so I was stoked and
yeah,
got like a pretty good sleep. So I was pretty fired up to have a big one after the win, but ended up like probably doing it as well as I could have for myself.
yeah, amazing. And look, you're back home now. Plenty of time for that. Look, we moved from that now. You sort of you got a bit of time at home. A little birdie told us you're going to be in the Stab High event. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So
correct.
yeah, that's going to be going on in Sydney in about a month's time, just under. We've touched on it throughout the pod already. Your aerial surfing is pretty much as good as it gets, and you don't have to comment on that. That's just us saying that. Is this an event that's got you chomping at the bit? Like, are you like raring to go for this thing?
Yeah, yeah, I'm super keen. Like, Stab High, I did my first one at Japan this year, and it was super fun. Just kind of testing myself and hanging around a completely different crew to what I usually do. Like, it's a basically full free surf crew event, and those guys are so rad, and they're sick to hang out with. And I know that this one's it's a weird feeling for me because I'm a comp guy. I absolutely love competitive surfing, and kind of being able to do airs in a wave pool in a comp is super sick. But it's definitely a different feeling, and I don't know, I'm really amped to do it. But I'm definitely more keen for the Kiwis, the upcoming Kiwis at Philippines and Taiwan. But I can't wait to go down and just hang out with all the crew. It's always such a fun time, and
Yeah.
just try different shit and try and impress the crowd.
Yeah, me and Zach are going to be down there for that one, so we'll be cheering you on. Me and Zach as well. We've commented in the past on the judging. Now, I'm not sure if he'll be there, but Lee Wilson has made it very clear he doesn't want to see double grabs. What's the air that you've got in mind for this event that's going to potentially win you the comp? What do you want to throw down?
I just want to go upside down, to be honest. And if I'd love to do like a cork 540, and if that if I have to do that with a double grab, I'm just gonna like. And if Lee's there, like Lee's an absolute legend. I absolutely love Lee. He's the man, and he really pushed me to do that single grab flip at Japan this year. But I want to like kind of push a bit of pull surfing, and if I got to do that with a double grab and they give me the 35, then I'll fucking take that one on the chin. If that means doing a first for me. But yeah, I don't know. If it comes down to if I get down there and I get all competitive and comp out, which I probably will, I'll probably just go for some single grab flips. Probably try Huey's style flip. I know he'll be trying that every single time, so it could be cool to have a little race to that.
Yeah.
Or I'd love to get a slob one because that was the air that I was trying in the semi-final at Japan this year, and I didn't end up making it. So yeah, I don't know. It's a different section down there and a bit more punchy than the Japan one. So I just want to go down and try some different shit.
Amazing. Yeah. And then look, just to round everything out, I'm guessing backing into the Challenger Series is on the agenda for you next. Is that your next big goal?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like being at the ISAs and being around the challenges this year, I felt comfortable in that level, and I feel like I've proved to myself that I can compete and do really well at that level of surfing. So that's definitely it's going to be a pretty tricky task this year, just because I missed those first two QSs in Indonesia with my fin chop, and then didn't do too well in South Korea, but that wasn't really bothering me. It was a wasteful. So but yeah, I don't know. I just really want to go on to these next ones and just give it a red hot crack. Do the ones at home if we get any, and yeah, that's the main goal, and want to really give that a crack next year whenever it is, and I can just rip in.
Yeah, and so the upcoming comps you said is it Taiwan and the Philippines? Is that right?
Yeah.
Both pretty good waves to you, I imagine. Like you obviously Labokana is different, but Taiwan sort of has that similar look to it. It's maybe a bit fatter, but it's sort of like trestles almost left and right. And then the Philippines is like a tube into just the craziest F section ever. So couple good events there for you. So we got our fingers and toes crossed for you. And then I'm guessing the end goal here is a WSL world title.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping to get a wild card. Or we still have a few Pro Junior events at the end of this year as well, which I'll be doing, and hopefully I'll be getting into the WSL Pro Junior world title, so I can try and get that one ticked off, give that a good crack, and then the next few years we've got kind of a 3-4 year plan of getting on the CT, well, getting on the Challenger, getting hopefully straight on the CT, if not a couple of years on the Challenger, then on the CT, and then just building my surfing and keeping on trying to crack that top level.
Amazing, mate. Well, that's pretty much all we've got for you. Any projects you want to call out that are upcoming, or you pretty well just focusing on the queue?
Yeah, not too many like free surfing projects that I'm working on. I'm just kind of whatever clips I stack, I've kind of been posting, but I put away a few. I actually went to El Salvador a couple of weeks earlier than this last trip there. And I went there with my mate Cannon Carr and his little brother Carson Carr, and we've got edit coming out. I think we're going to be posting it this week. It's called Like Minded, and it's just of our surfing at Punta Roca. It's a fun little edit, only like 3.5 minutes, but pretty happy with some of the surfing I did in there. It's just going to be a sick little sick. It's really sick put together, if that's how you say it. But yeah, Jacob Vanderwerk put it together and he edited it, so it's going to be really cool, and hopefully everyone can check that one out. So yeah, that'll be on the cards for the next week or two, and yeah, just keep on stacking some clips, and if I get enough this year on the QE, or if I chase a couple of swells maybe to cloud break, I'll try and put together another Summit of the Year entry, but that's not really what I'm focusing on this year.
Amazing, mate. Well, I'd say we're all rooting for you, and we'll see you at Stab High in about a month, mate. Thanks so much for coming on.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me.
No worries, brother. Thank you.
Legend. Talk to you soon.